What's up, Niner Faithful? Johnny Dell back again with another episode of 49ers Playbook, the channel that's trying to find the whys and hows of each game. We're going to continue our review of the defense this week, specifically the pass defense. Our pass defense has been much improved this year, and we're going to take a look at why that is. Some of it's the pass rush, some of it is much improved coverage in the secondary. So let's look at this play and just kind of see why this play turns out the way it does. We'll dive right in. On this play, it's a 3rd and 15. What Cincinnati's going to try and do is, one, we show heavy pressure look. We're going to bring 6 guys up to the line of scrimmage, showing heavy pressure. What Cincinnati's going to do is they're just going to come out and they're going to run 3 deep curls. They're trying to horizontally stretch the defense. They're going to take this tight end and just run him into the flat. So what we're going to have to do here is, with this player coming into the flat, is your defenders need to understand it's 3rd and 15 and not bite on any cheese underneath, so that they can't horizontally stretch fewer defenders. So let's watch this play. Right at the snap, Andy Dalton, he was assuming that there was going to be heavy pressure coming 3rd and 15, so he's going to look down the seam, and what we do is we just drop into a standard cover 3, and we're going to have Fred Warner running as the hook curl defender on that side. He's going to then squeeze the seam. That's his first responsibility as a hook curl defender is to squeeze the seam, and he takes that away. On the other side, Quan Alexander does a really good job of playing inside-out defense. This is called the hook curl because this defender plays hook to curl, so inside to out. And he's just going to read Andy Dalton's eyes, and the moment he moves over to this receiver, he's going to shade outside. Akella Witherspoon does a good job of not bailing too quickly and reading the drop of the quarterback, and he's sitting on this route. So when Andy Dalton turns to look to this receiver, he's going to be bracketed. This is going to leave him with nowhere to go. You're going to see these 3 receivers, they're coming across. Every single one is covered. That is a bad news for a quarterback, especially on 3rd and 15. So let's watch it from the end zone and see how DeForest Buckner got this sack. Again, assuming that there was going to be pressure, Andy Dalton brought the running back up into the A gap. His job is going to be to pick up either of these 2 guys if they blitz. Again, he's assuming there might be pressure off the side. And at the snap, we're not going to blitz. You're going to see him back out. So, and one thing to note here is that D Ford is going to be playing in the Leo. If you remember my video on the Leo position in our defense, that usually that was on the side of the plugger, Eric Armstead is going to be running the role of the plugger on this play. That was part of why we brought Fred Warner up into the gap, is that it's going to cause the line to shift that direction, so that makes it easier for Eric Armstead to plug both the guard and the center. He's going to loop around, split the difference, and occupy both of these players. That gives one-on-ones across the board. That gives D Ford a 2-way go. So he's by taking an inside move from the wide 9, that gives D Ford the option to come inside or over the top. Nick Bosa now has the responsibility of beating his man over the top. DeForest Buckner can go either way. So we've given a 2-way go to Buckner and Ford. That's how you scheme up a pass rush. So here, Buckner is going to then just use a strong arm here, and he's going to blow up the guard. You see the guard's arms are flailing. He's just been hit by a freight train called DeForest Buckner. The running back, having come in to help on a blitz, he tries to knock Buckner as best he can. The problem is, when you're playing a guy like DeForest Buckner, he's got no quit. He keeps going. He's got a great motor. And so while the guard gave up on the play and was hoping that the ball would come out, it didn't, and DeForest Buckner ends up getting a sack. One thing to note here, watch Nick Bosa on this play. He's going to do a great job. Watch his hand fighting. This is a really good angle to see his hand fighting going on here. Watch him fight, and then he's going to dip and rip. If Buckner didn't get there, Bosa was going to get there. That's awesome when you can have 2 options. So this is a play where you have the marriage of good coverage into good pass rush. Your coverage holds up just long enough for your pass rush to get home. Let's watch this in real time. That's awesome. That's awesome. That's something we haven't had here for quite a while. So let's keep moving. Here, I wanted to show this play. I'm going to show 2 plays in succession because I want to show how our defenders are able to pick up on the things that the offense is trying to do to them. One reason you play kind of a stubborn defense, and by that I mean we last year we would, and the year before we would come out and cover three almost every play, right? The idea behind that is that there's only so many ways a team will be able to attack a cover three. And so if you keep playing the same coverage over and over again, you're going to end up seeing the same concepts, and so you're able to jump on routes and start kind of baiting quarterbacks into throws or sit on things. So this is going to be a similar situation. What Cincinnati's going to do is they're going to come out in a 3-by-1, so they have 3 receivers to the top, 1 to the bottom, and they're just going to run in all curls here. They're going to run 4 curls with all these guys, again, horizontally stretching the defense. When you have players like this, the reason we call it horizontal is because if you're drawing this up on a whiteboard or chalkboard, this is going to be horizontal by the way you're looking at it, vertical by the way you look at it here. So it's a horizontal stretch, and we're actually going to be not in our standard cover 3 that you've seen, but we're going to be go into a Tampa 2 defense here. Tampa 2 isn't extremely common for what we do, but it's a similar idea. It's almost a type of cover 3 in my opinion. I know it's cover 2, but the way it plays is more as a cover 3 because you end up with kind of 3 deep, because this middle defender, his job is going to be to track the deepest route down the middle of the field. And so it can be more like a cover 3. It doesn't always, again, if they don't bring a route down the middle of the field, it won't, but that's just how I view it. And so then you have these 4 underneath that, again, these plays a little bit different than a cover 3 because your hook curl guys are more outside in than they are inside out. So this is what this play is going to look like, and let's watch how it's played. So here's snap. You see the Tampa 2, you see the wide safeties, and Fred Warner is going to track the deepest route down the middle of the field. Right here, this looks like pretty standard Tampa 2. And they've got all these curls going again to horizontally stretch the defense. They end up getting Quan Alexander peeking inside too much because he was threatened, and so that's going to open up a hole right here, and they get a 14-yard gain. The reason I show that play is because now this is going to be the very next drive. The very next drive, we're going to have the same look. We're going to have 2 safety look. They're going to be in a 3-by-1. But watch Quan Alexander this time. Last time they went to, this is Auden Tate. They went to him on the curl, and this time they try and do it again, but guess who's sitting on the route? This time, Quan Alexander, when he saw the 3-by-1, he's now ready for this route. So he's actually sitting on the route, waiting to jump it. And when Dalton goes to throw the pass, he jumps underneath. This is actually, if this ball had been thrown any lower, then Quan Alexander's probably taken this back the other direction because he had such a good jump on the ball. This is a defender that's showing that he's smart, that he can diagnose and remember the plays that are being thrown at him. Again, this is why you come with stubborn coverage. We're in the same coverage here, Tampa 2. We played a lot more 2 deep than I'd seen in previous years. So I like this, and I want to just highlight that we're picking up on what the defense is trying to do to us. All right, so now this play, what this is going to be is Cincinnati is going to run a mirroring concept. This is the play that, let me show this play in real time because people have asked that I do that beforehand, so I'm just going to show this. So you can see this was Ahkello Witherspoon's near interception. So let's talk about this. What Cincinnati's going to do is they're just going to run mirroring concepts. This is something Bill Walsh used to do, and what it was is you would just run the same concept to both sides of the field, and he would call it a PAS read or a pick a side read, where the quarterback would just pick one side of the field and read that side. And what this is a double stick concept. A stick concept just has a speed out and then an option route here from the inside defender, usually a tight end, or I said defender, I meant receiver. Usually a tight end can be a slot receiver, and what it is he's supposed to read. If it's zone coverage, he's supposed to sit down. If it's man coverage, he's going to keep going out to the sideline. So you have a clearing route on one side, and then you have a play to beat man coverage. And so if the quarterback thinks it's going to be a man coverage, he can pick either one of these. If it's zone coverage, he's going to look for where the hole in the zone is going to be, that this flat defender is going to have to choose one, or the hook curl defender will have to choose one, and the other one will be open. On this play, we're going to show a cover 3 look. We're going to show a single safety look. At the snap, we're going to back out our safety. He's going to drop, and we're actually going to drop into a cover two. So this is where a late rotation of the safety is able to fool the offense. This is one thing we didn't see a lot last year. We didn't see a lot of rotation of the safeties late. We would usually just present our defense, and that's what it was. So here at the snap, you see, one, if I back it up a little bit more, you can see a little more clear that we were showing single safety, possible man coverage. Two, again, this formation by the defense will hide a lot, and right before the snap, or this is more, he steps over, he presents more of a cover two. We back out, and you can see here we're in cover two. So here, I think Dalton thinks that we're in man coverage because he's going to see the off coverage by Witherspoon, and he thinks he's got a man open. Whether he thinks it's zone or man, he may think it's quarters. I can't say it for certain. I know what's going on. What I can say is that Andy Dalton is fooled. That our pre-snap look, he showed him something that he didn't think we were going to do. And so here, he thinks he's got a man open, and Witherspoon's just waiting on the route, and he should have an interception and another touchdown. This is why you're on defense, kid. But this is a play where I love the way that Witherspoon plays this. He sits on the route, and he understands that they're trying to bait the quarterback and fool him, and he doesn't sell the coverage until the last second. I was watching in real time one more time. Should be the other direction. But I love that. I love that we have the versatility to do that. Now I'm going to talk about Quan Alexander's interception. This is a play I really like how Quan Alexander plays this play, plays the coverage on this. What Cincinnati's going to try and do is they're going to try and run an elongated flood route. So they're going to run a deep corner with the tight end, and then this receiver is just going to run a quick flat route, and they're going to bring this receiver all the way across the field. This guy's just going to come on a little curl over the middle. So they kind of have a sucker concept here developing into a flood route, almost a bench concept here as well. So they got a lot of things going on. What we're going to do is we're going to come out and just be in straight man coverage. And so Quan Alexander is lined up on the tight end, and you just have man coverage across the board. Well, I'm going to highlight him because we're going to end up being in a cover one, and what this does is he understands where his help is. We haven't always had defenders who understood where their help is. One thing I'm going to point out is on the backside, we're going to be in what's called a pattern matching man. So how this works is our inside defender takes the first in-breaking route. The outside defender is supposed to take anything vertical and out-breaking. And so there's a little bit of a mix in coverage here, but again, our pass rush ends up negating that. So here, you see we're coming with a blitz. We're going to end up bringing, this is K'Wan Williams, sorry, excuse me, I had a brain fart there, off the slot. And so Tarvarius Moore is actually this slot receiver or slot defender. And so from the snap, what I love here is Quan Alexander understands where his help is, and he's going to funnel the tight end to his help. He's running him to his help. He's going to maintain outside leverage and impede and kind of slow him down there. Remember, contact's allowed within the first 5 yards. And so he hits him, and he's going to slow him down. And he just drives on him and stays in his hip pocket the whole way, again, because he's maintained outside leverage. When you play with the right leverage towards your help, that ends up putting you in a good position. Now, where we have the bust here is Tarvarius Moore sees an in-breaking route. He assumes this receiver is going vertical, and so he's going to do what he thinks is his job, break on the first in-breaking route. Now, Akella Witherspoon here believes that this route's going to be in-breaking. It's not going vertical, and so he's going to drive on the curl as well. So when this curl happens, we end up getting two defenders driving on the curl, and this receiver is going to be open. Quan Alexander still has the tight end coming across, and you can see there's nobody covering this guy. The difference is, and between this year and years prior, is that we actually have a pass rush. This was the play, if you saw my tweet, I showed Nick Bosa and DeForest Buckner working a stunt. Nick Bosa comes up the middle and flushes Andy Dalton out of the pocket. So when this receiver's just about to break open, that's when Andy Dalton has to bail out, and he takes his eyes off the progressions, and he tries to force a throw over the top to his tight end, but Quan Alexander's in perfect position. So these are all things where, again, On this play, we see that the pass rush helps the coverage. On other plays, we've seen the coverage help the pass rush. This is what's called complete defense, and something that we haven't had here for a while, and why I believe that this year our defense has a chance to be something special. Well, thanks for tuning in. If you'd like to support me on Patreon, I'll put that link below. Also, you can follow me on Twitter at Johnny Dell's FA, meaning Johnny Dell's Football Academy. Thanks for watching in, and go Niners.